And welcome everybody to the 2024 World Formula One Championship. This week live from Austria. So we were in Red Bull's backyard, so to speak, and we had a sprint race. So there were two races to comment on. And as you can see, we were aiming for a collision. That was the title of the new film coming out, starring Lando and Max, who have since said that they will no longer be watching Netflix together. Oh dear, they've had a little bit of a falling out. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Don't you worry. Welcome everybody. Okay, so first off, let's just review the sprint race, because there was a sprint race. Qualifying, Max in first place, Lando in second place. I won't bother with the rest of it because it's all relatively straightforward. Max getting away to a great first start. Piastri and Norris in second and third place, followed by Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes. Basically, Lando keeping ahead of Piastri at the first corner and then chasing after Max. This was to be a theme for the weekend. They seem to be trying to share the same racetrack quite often. Nonetheless, it was a fairly straightforward race as sprint races go. Bit of action down the field between Alonso and I think it was Ocon, which I should stop it there actually, because there is something that needs to be said. What up, Red Fang? By the way, what up, Red Fang? Thank you. And welcome, Bub. Welcome. And what up, Red Fang? So, yeah, there's something to be said there. Apparently, and I got this straight from, he actually texted me after the race. My crack texted me after the race, and he said, my crack said he was very disappointed, but especially by Alonso. And in some ways, he actually gave Alonso a veiled threat. My crack gave Alonso a veiled threat. He actually said, and I quote, I cannot hear the drums, Fernando. Okay, so there we go. That's hot off the press. That was said by Mike Crack, threatening Alonso's position in the team. He obviously does want him to hear the drums, Fernando. So there we go. Just thought I'd get that in there quickly. Sorry about that. But nonetheless, yeah, I know. We're desperate. We're desperate for jokes. What can I say? I spend a fortune on my joke writer. And this is the sort of stuff he comes up with. Anyway, nonetheless, tenuous as it may be, Alonso was outperformed by Stroll this weekend. Anyway, down lap 3, Alonso really hot on the heels, had the measure of had the measure of Verstappen. By lap 5, he was catching back up to him, really trying hard in his DRS. Dive bomb down the inside, managed to make the corner, and got ahead of him. We thought, well, hello, this is great. But then unfortunately, allowed Verstappen to dive bomb back down the inside of turn 4 and allowed Piastri to get round the outside. And Piastri couldn't live with Verstappen, even in the DRS. And that was the end of the race. Afterwards, Lando said he felt like an amateur for leaving the door open. And he should have known, obviously should have known that Max was in fact going to dive bomb him down the inside. And I felt for the lad. And that was the first kind of sign that the weekend wasn't going the way Lando wanted it. And nonetheless, they will still remain great friends. Great friends because, as I say, Lando took the full responsibility of allowing Verstappen to dive bomb him into turn 4. Russell had a good weekend, as we'll find out. In the sprint race, he came through and did rather well. Still, at the end, though, there was a few bits and pieces. But at the end, it was a 4.5 second Race win by Verstappen from Piastri, with Norris hot on his tail, then Russell in 4th place, Sainz, Hamilton, Leclerc, Perez. I don't know what happened to Perez this weekend. It seemed like he wasn't dating anybody. Perez. I don't know if you've heard of Perez. He's a South American driver.
Okay.
Helmet. That's a helmet Marco joke. So there we go. And then Magnussen and Stroll outperforming Alonso, who couldn't hear the drums. Fernando. Right. Okay. To the main race. That was the Saturday's race. Highly interesting, not really. However, onto the main race. Main race, it was pretty much a carbon copy at the front of the grid. Max Verstappen in 1st place. Lando Harris, Lando Calrissian, Lando Norris, Nori Yukahaga, Nori, Nitro Nori in 2nd place. Russell 3rd, Sainz 4th, Hamilton 5th, Leclerc 6th. And it was to be a disappointing race again, I feel, for quite a few runners, for various different reasons. However, the main thing and the main controversial point we'll get to. Verstappen flew off the line. Norris in 2nd place. Russell very close in 3rd place. Unlucky not to actually overtake thing, and then some really quite bad racing from people further back in the grid. Leclerc getting squeezed, breaking his front wing early on, and having to pit early in lap 2. I think it was Piastri and Perez he was squeezed between. And then, of course, adverts happened. This week, we've got another one for Moundscaped. They've come up with new technology. The pussy trimmer. They've got a new thing called the Pussy Trimmer 3.0. And of course, if you're a pussy, you can get trimmed by the Pussy Trimmer 3.0 for Moundscaped. So that's the new product out. Please go out and buy it. And if you use the code Fabio and Funk, our pussies 10, you'll get 10% off. Okay. So back to the race. We're only at lap 3. Oh my goodness. The two Mercedes coming together. Hamilton overtaking lap 3. But again, with the DRS, Russell was back past again. It turns out Hamilton had some problems with his car. And that was pretty much it. He came together with, I think it was Sainz at one point. And then also Piastri and Perez coming together. Perez coming off worse in that one. Pretty much then also Zhou and I think it was Alonso coming together, which is the reason Alonso actually heard the drums at that point when he hit Zhou. But there we are. They were the wrong type of drums, obviously, and Zhou coming off better, although later they both fell back. Gasly and Ocon had a bit of a ding-dong together. That was quite interesting for a little while, as we expect. Eventually, Ocon decided to get a little wise, and instead of running Gasly off the track, he decided to give him some space, and Gasly got past, which is pretty much all you need to race close together and to get past someone is you need a bit of space. And that's the theme. That's a theme that'll come back. We'll talk about that shortly. Lap 48, Oscar gets past Hamilton, who is still suffering with car damage. Lap 52, pit stops happened. and Norris and Alonso and Norris and Verstappen came in. Verstappen had a very slow stop, 6.5 seconds, which then threw away some of his advantage and allowed Norris to get a little closer, about 2 to 3 seconds behind. And with a few mistakes that Verstappen made driving, locking up at one corner, that allowed by lap 55 the Norris to get on the back of him, at least into the DRS. There was several attempts that Norris had to get by, including a dive bomb into turn 2, for which that was Verstappen was upset about. I think that ruffled Verstappen as he realised that he wasn't as fast and couldn't just move away. This allowed, this got Norris excited because he then claimed that Verstappen was moving in the braking area and holding him up somewhat. By lap 64, though, then came the actual incident, which you see in the thumbnail, which I'm about to put up. As you can see, going into turn 3, I think it was. I'm looking quickly. No. In one of the turns. Norris down. 3, yeah. 3, it was 3, yeah. Thank you. And then Norris into the outside, having fainted to the inside. That took Verstappen to the inside. Then coming back to the outside, having plenty of room, or what he perceived to be plenty of room. But as you can see, before Verstappen started braking, he aimed the car diagonally across the track, and that allowed him to brake in a straight line, but still forcing Norris off the track, although Norris decided he didn't want to drive off the track this time. The two came together, and there was an almighty collision. Verstappen not just hitting once, not just once, gentlemen, in this corner. They didn't hit once. Verstappen couldn't really steer the car, so he actually hit Norris twice. Second time knocking him off the track, and driving them both off the track, in fact. And then for the third time, as they got back on the track, Verstappen already had a rear puncture. Norris' tyre was deflating, but he managed to get away faster. And then for the third time, Verstappen then drove across the track, not leaving any room for Norris to get by on the outside. Norris backed off because, of course, he'd already had a puncture. There was no point in pushing the point forward. And eventually he managed to get past him. But then his left tyre gave way in rather spectacular fashion. And in fact, he had a worst. The tyre ripped apart, which meant Norris couldn't control his car at all. Russell streamed by, and then Sainz streamed by, Piastri streamed by, and pretty much that was the defining factor for the race. There's a lot to talk about there as to who was at fault. Stewards gave Verstappen a penalty. Norris was absolutely furious with the move, having already complained several times about Verstappen's braking movement in the braking area. It came through to the final race results, which were Russell first place, Piastri second place, Sainz third place, Hamilton fourth place, Verstappen making fifth place, Perez sixth place. Let's just shout out, I'd want everybody to realise Perez finished very close behind Verstappen. So well done to Perez for that. I think that's a major achievement in his season so far. Then Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Ricciardo, and Gasly for 1 point. Well done to the Alpines. And of course, that is the race review by myself. There's going to be some comments to go through, I know, and I'll try and put them up as we go. Okay, over to you, Fabio. How did you find the race? Did you spot anything unusual in this race?
Well, I mean, I felt asleep for the start of the sprint race, but I mean, it wasn't that much of a thing. The race itself, there were some interesting things, besides the accident, which I'm sure we're gonna talk about it later. other interesting points, pellets which couldn't overtake the us in the last laps. That was something to watch. The 12 pin, keep getting at each other. Alonso, very bad race. I mean, the Astons were really, really bad. Good race from Ricciardo. I mean, nice comeback from the guy. And yeah, the Ferrari, had some. Now we can say we got some serious problems with the new updates that they brought. Apparently the floor is giving them more downforce, but the porpoising is back. So you basically cannot use the downforce which is generated by the floor, because when you're porpoising, you either stiffen the car or you raise the car and then you lose the downforce. So yeah, pretty much fucked. So yeah, we'll see. Fourth force. I was happy for Russell because that made it even with the first race last year when he came. Yeah, when it was called. Sorry, 2 years ago when it was called to replace the driver. He couldn't win the race. I think that makes it even for him. As far as races go. Yeah, I mean, still really impressed by Piastri. I am not impressed by Norris, by the way. Not at all. So yeah, I mean that would be the short version of it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but sorry. Yeah, you probably missed the email, but that's not the new Manscaped product.
Oh,
They launched no. They launched a new product, for the Austrian GP. It's called Manscaped Anschluss, and it's built in Austria and delivered by the Germans. And the slogan is that it will blitzkrieg your private parts.
Oh,
okay. Thank you so much for
I
that.
think it's time I logged off now.
I was going to say, I thought it was the German girls that liked the hairy armpits.
Oh no! It is built in Austria, but it's delivered by the Germans.
I see. Gotcha.
Like the Führer, basically.
Yeah. I get you now. I see. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the Germans like that, don't they? They say Hitler was born in Austria and Mozart was born in Germany.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, over to you, Lucky. Thank you. Have you been using the new Pussy Pleaser 3.0 from Manscaped?
The Pussy Pleaser.
Mm.
That's not something different we're talking about now.
From Manscaped, that's the new.
I didn't realize it's called a Pussy Pleaser. I thought that was something you got.
What did I call it before? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. But I think the Pussy Pleaser is actually something you buy from the Ann Summers catalog, perhaps.
Oh yeah, that was basically what I was alluding to. Yeah. Anyway, how did you find the race? Because we had some races.
Well, I found that race review by Fabio to be extremely short once again.
Yeah. Yes, I did. It's almost like we're trying to get under an hour, isn't it?
It's just not good enough. It's not good enough. Working with amateurs here.
Okay.
So I didn't get to see the sprint race, unfortunately. Why didn't I can't remember why I didn't get to see the sprint race, but I didn't get to see it. But somebody won and somebody was second. And I think there was somebody third as well, surprisingly enough. So the race itself, of course, we have to start with La Reportage de Logan Sargent. Another lackluster weekend for Lesage. Qualified 15th for the sprint, ended up 16th in the actual race. And for the race itself, we had 19th qualifying position. And just to be consistent, he was 19th and last runner in the race. I believe next week that a young lad called Franco Colapinto will be driving Logan's car for free practice. Now, I'm not sure if this is a move that's being made, or this is part of the rules, because apparently each team has to give their reserve or young driver a free practice twice a year, and this could be to fulfill that rule. I don't know. However,
More than
Logan,
likely, yeah.
yeah, I think it probably is. But anyway, as I said, lackluster is about as good a description as you can give for Lesarge's weekend. That's about it for Logan, I'm afraid. I know you want me to talk more about him, but
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
That's about all we can say for Lesarge this weekend.
Yeah, can I just point out the irony of having like the irony of in Formula One having something called a free practice. Carry on. Yeah, sorry. It just occurred to me there's no such thing as a free practice in Formula One, is there? Let's face it.
Nothing's free in Formula One. Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, poor Charles Leclerc. He's just so unlucky. He must be the most unlucky driver in Formula One for years. It's a real shame. He deserves, as a person, to do better. And it's a real shame that he keeps having these unanticipated events that mess up his weekend, and usually through no fault of his own. It's a real shame. The Alpines, what was going on with the Alpines?
Can I just quickly comment on Charles Leclerc there? I would just say one thing. Charles Leclerc, the pasty pastry, has gone a bit stale of late. Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, maybe he's resigned to the fact that this year it's not going to be Ferrari's year, and he's just sort of going around for the sake of going around. But that does seem unlikely, because he's the kind of guy, as we've said before, who will still drive the car if it's only got two wheels on it. He's just a kind of Villeneuve character in that respect. If it will go, he'll take it around the track. However, as I was saying, moving on, the Alpines, no wonder they're getting rid of Ocon. He's a fucking liability. I'm glad to see the back of him, to be honest. He's I just don't get him, to be honest. Okay, so what else happened? Well, of course, we're going to have to talk about the incident.
What incident?
Do that,
I go ahead. Sorry.
Happened.
Before I think you said I was giving you a lead in there, but then you went. But before that, and I went.
Before that, if you remember, I did predict last week at the very end that track limits was going to be something talked about, but the reason it's being talked about is completely different from the reason I thought was going to happen. But anyway, moving on. 40th pole for Verstappen. 310th Grand Prix win for a British driver in George Russell.
Sorry, how many poles?
40th pole for Verstappen.
40th pole. That must be getting on for a record of some sort, probably more than Senna. Not as many as Hitler, incidentally.
Oh, that was harsh. But topical, seeing as how we were in Austria.
Well, I was thinking of the Weed Whacker 2 that Bub said about Weed Whacker 2 there. New product from Manscaped, which Fabio was identifying.
As recommended by Austrians all over the world.
Yeah.
So 40th pole and 310th Grand Prix victory for a British driver. So what else are we going to talk about? I'll tell you what I was going to talk about. In slightly unrelated news, Fabio, have you heard of a MotoGP team called Gresini Racing?
Yeah.
The privateer team with Ducatis.
Yeah, it's a team which was built by the late Fausto Gresini, which died during COVID, which I knew, by the way. Brilliant rider, nice team. Now he's managed by his daughter or his wife. I'm having a
Okay,
blackout
well,
here, but yeah.
next year, you might find that the Gresini Racing is called Gresini Hamilton Racing, as Lewis Hamilton is looking to buy into Gresini Racing,
Nice.
believe it or not. So that should be an interesting development, should it happen. What else have we got to talk about? I don't think there's much else as far as
No, I don't think anything else happened.
Very dull.
Okay, so that's the roundup then. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, hold on. One last thing. One quote from Toto Wolff. It was the
yes.
singularly dumbest thing I have ever done, said Toto, referring to jumping up and down with excitement and getting on the radio to George Russell to let him know that he's going to win. Perhaps. Maybe.
Perhaps, yeah.
So
there was never any doubt, by the way. But yeah.
I think the reply from George Russell was "fuck off, Toto."
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing there, but it was very similar to that.
I think you are paraphrasing there. Yeah.
The F word was used, though. There was an
Yeah,
F word
yeah.
used.
He said, let me fucking drive.
Yeah.
That's the one. Well done.
So there we go. And, got them some attention. Okay, look, now let's talk about it, shall we? I think I'm the only one that has a different... I'm going to be the Verstappen defender, I guess.
Oh, really?
I have... Someone has to. And I know it ain't going to be either of you two.
You might be surprised by what I have to say, but carry on.
Oh, okay.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, you go first, Lucky, because you always, we have a way of doing it. Let's reverse it. You go first on this one.
Okay, well, can I first sort of follow on from what we were talking about?
Please do.
George Russell last week, and the way that he gave up the lead to Verstappen in such a gentlemanly manner. If that had been Nigel Mansell or Ayrton Senna or Michael Schumacher or any of these guys who've been driving that Mercedes, do you think they would have let George Russell, Verstappen through quite so easily? No, they're leading a Formula One Grand Prix.
Sorry, you said George Russell let him through. Do you mean that Lando Norris? You're talking about the sprint race, are you?
No, I'm talking about last week's race.
Okay.
No,
sorry, yeah, Sunday's race.
Remember
the one before.
Remember, I had remarked last week on how how easily George Russell gave up the lead.
Oh, I see. Yes, you did. I remember now. Okay.
Verstappen, yeah. Okay.
Verstappen, yeah.
Okay, well, if that had been Mansell or Senna or any of these guys, do you think they would have given up the lead of a Grand Prix quite as easily as that? Even with Verstappen having an advantage of car.
Yeah.
No, exactly. None of them would have done that. They would have put up some sort of fight. Okay. And they would have tried to stamp some sort of mark in Verstappen's brain that says, listen, you may be faster than me, but you've still got to get past. Okay?
Yes.
Now, what we saw yesterday was Lando Norris doing what George Russell should have done last week. And that's put up a fight for the lead of a Formula One Grand Prix.
Okay.
And that's my opinion.
Right.
As far as the accident itself, listen, I've done that corner in sim racing 1,000 times. And this pushing you off to the left, it's what everybody does. If you try to do an overtake like that, everybody pushes you out. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, in sim racing,
If you just stay over to the left, the guy that pushed you is compromised on his line going through the corner. You just cut inside him and you go flying down the hill. I've done it a million times. It's been done to me a million times.
Sure.
And that's why I think that there is both to blame for the accident as each other. Norris should have gone left when he saw Verstappen going left and just taken him as he went down the hill. But he didn't. He wanted to stand his ground. Now, this could be because of the track limits problem. And that's something else that's also different, because after the race, Lando Norris got a track limits penalty for his fourth time going across track limits. Okay, and that happened before any of this incident happened. So if he'd actually been given that track limits penalty at the time it happened, none of the incident would have happened. Verstappen could actually let Lando Norris pass, and as long as he stayed within 5 seconds of him, which it was going to be easy to do in a track with 3 DRS zones, it wouldn't have been a problem, and they would have finished first and second. But because of the accident, because of the accident, both of them were screwed.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that Norris already had 5 seconds when he crashed into Verstappen.
Yeah, I mean no, I don't think it was given. He got the 5 seconds for the. Hang on. He got the 5 seconds when he dive bombed Verstappen and went off the track. That's when he got the fourth one, and I think that's a stupid penalty, right? If you dive bomb someone, clearly you're not going through the corner to gain an advantage by going off the track. Maybe if you overtake someone, then overtaking someone off the track, maybe that's an advantage. But certainly in that case, I thought it was a ridiculous penalty to give Norris. Yeah, that's that. What did you think of the incident overall, Fabio? Let's all just give our impressions of it first, and then we'll dissect it between us.
So, okay, I'm starting from what had been said after the incident. And there was a declaration by Andrea Stella, the technical director of McLaren. He said a couple of interesting things. The first one, he said that this accident can be traced back to what Verstappen started doing with Hamilton in the previous years. That was never dealt appropriately. And funnily enough, the rule that Verstappen breached, because Verstappen was in breach of a rule, so technically it was at fault. It was introduced by the FIA because of what Verstappen did. And I'm referring to the rule that you cannot change trajectory more than once under braking. That was something that Verstappen used to do, especially when he was fighting with Hamilton in previous years. And that rule was introduced. That rule has never existed, and it existed only because of Verstappen, right? So that rule was introduced on Sunday. He clearly breached the rules, so technically he's at fault. Having said that, I think that Lando Norris is not a champion yet. And I honestly don't know if he will ever become one. What I'm saying is that, yesterday he behaved like a fucking idiot. He tried to overtake Verstappen. So first of all, in the sprint race, he overtook Verstappen exactly in the same corner, exactly the same way. And during the race, he tried 4 times before the accident to overtake him at corner number 3. Now, corner number 3 in Austria is the kind of corner that if you either stay in the center or slightly on the right, nobody's ever going to pass you. There is no chance.
That's very true.
There is no fucking way anybody's going to pass you unless they go outside. And Lando tried to overtake. I mean, I still cannot understand why did he try to overtake him on corner number 4. You get a good drive from 3 and you overtake him number 4. But regardless, he tried 4 times in the 4 laps preceding the accident to overtake him in the same corner. Now, my question, and keep in mind that I said it before, Verstappen was in breach of a rule that he himself caused to be effective. But my question is, what the fuck do you think that Verstappen was going to do? I mean, he has a guy behind which has been trying to overtake him 4 times in the same corner. I mean, he's a bloody racing driver, regardless of what you might think about Verstappen. And he has this guy trying to pass him in an impossible corner, in an impossible way. I mean, of course he's going to do that. I mean, I would expect that from every racing driver. Every racing driver should do the same. So I can't really blame Verstappen for what he did. The only reason he was at fault is because of some shit that he did 2 or 3 years ago, and he kept doing that. So, yeah, I mean, I feel no sympathy because he's been the victim of his own, crap that he's been doing, which forced that
Okay.
rule to be effective.
Okay.
But, as far as the accident go, I mean, fuck him. I mean, I think he did well. He
Okay.
covered the corner, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this comes down to. I think that first of all, I'm on Christian Horner's side here. I don't think that he did anything wrong, not by the letter of the rules as currently produced. Now, here's the reason why, and this is a tricky one. He gave a hint to it in his interview after the race, and like as much as I would like to see this kind of driving style taken care of, because it's not healthy for the sport as far as I'm concerned. It's by the letter of the law. And here's the letter of the law. Once you start braking, you cannot change direction. Right? That's the letter of the law, so as it is. Now, like, we assume that's going to be in a straight line. Okay? And indeed, it is normally in a straight line, of course. And it should be in a straight line. You're not allowed to vary once you've started braking to change your line. So that's the thing. Now, here's where Max is looking at the rules and taking a slight advantage, as you were. That's not to say you have to brake in one straight line straight down the road, right? And if you look very carefully, and here's I'm gonna put this back up again. If you look very carefully where he's pointing his car, right, it is exactly straight down towards the corner, exactly where they had the collision. He's aiming for the edge of the track. In other words, he starts braking about now, and he brakes in a straight line towards the edge of the track. And that is going to force Lando off the track. Right? And that's the grey loophole that Verstappen is using here in order to, shall we say, defend his position rather stoutly. So technically, by the rule, he's not changing direction once he starts braking. It just so happens he's braking diagonally across the track. How are you going to look at that and say he's now breaking the rule? Because it's not.
I'm not really sure about that. Regardless, that is something which can be easily proved. They got the data.
Yeah.
I think. But again, I think, and remember what I said before. I think that Norris is a fucking idiot for being there. But I think that Max opened a little bit on the left. I think that was my impression.
Agree.
But listen,
I agree. It certainly looks that way. It certainly looks that way. But you understand. Go ahead.
No. I get your point. But again, that would be really easy to prove by everybody. They got the data. They got the stereo angle.
Yeah.
So that would be a problem. But regardless, okay. The fact is that everybody has been blaming Verstappen for whatever the fuck he did, and kind of rightly so, because that was the sort of maneuver that used to do. So regardless if he did it or not, that would be only the technical thing about him being wrong or right. My main point is that I don't know what the fuck Norris was thinking about. and that's why I said, I don't think he's a champion right now,
Yeah.
because he
I understand that. Yeah.
yeah.
I just want to address the issue about Verstappen right now, not whether Norris is like doing the right thing, the wrong thing. He's thinking of the rules the way he's thinking of the rules. He thought Max moved under braking. There was certainly some replays shown and some people taking apart exactly when the braking point is, and they're saying it's like back at 100 or just after the 100 meters mark that you need to brake for that corner, right? In which case, Verstappen should have been on the brakes long time before that point that I made, right? But my point is, that is again, my point is simply, look, Max has listened to the rules and he's applied them, okay? And it does not say that you have to brake in one lane or the other lane, inside or outside, in a straight line towards the corner, right? There's no reason you can't brake diagonally across the track, right? In which case, you're definitely going to be causing a collision, okay? Inside or out. If you brake from the outside to the in, you're blocking someone at the apex. If you brake from the inside to the out, you're blocking someone off the edge of the track. So you still can't get round somebody, right? Now that needs to be addressed as far as I'm concerned, but it's not technically breaking the rules. And that's why Max is the champion that he is, because he knows how to use every inch of what he can do. And he thinks he's so aware, right? It's not just him driving and doing this, that, and the other. He's aware of where other people are on the track. He's aware of what he can do, how late his braking is. If he knows, right? He said in the interview after, and this is the telling bit as far as I'm concerned, he said in the interview afterwards, I think it's the person in the cockpit that knows when they're braking. I didn't change direction after I started braking. Right? Now, I will almost guarantee you, right? I mean, I say I'll almost guarantee you. I think it looks that way, that if he decided to come off the brakes, change direction, and then go back on the brakes again, he will be looking at that thinking, well, that's not breaking the rules technically, because under braking, I didn't change direction. Right? So I'm just saying, there you go. That is the point, that the rules were specifically designed because Max was braking heavily into corners and moving. Agreed. But now he's not doing that because he's found another loophole. He's found a way around it. Come off the brakes, change direction, then go back on the brakes. And as long as you're in a straight line, doesn't matter where you're going. So I'm just saying, I think it's very clever of Max to do that. Let's just read some things here. There's no such rule that bans moving under braking, isn't it? Yep, there is actually a rule that says you're not allowed to change direction once you started braking. Did you order Sainz versus Verstappen in the same corner, Austria 2023? No, we haven't actually discussed the previous ones because, for various reasons, I don't think they're particularly necessary. Because each situation is different.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Fabio.
I also think it was Sainz versus Perez in 2023. It wasn't Verstappen, and yeah, I mean they fought a lot, especially in corner 3, but that kind of situation never happened. I mean they both kept, especially Sainz, which was almost every time at the inside line. He almost every time, just kept the line. It was hard, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
They never found themselves, in the same position car-wise on the track.
Yeah. So Van Manzel says that's a great point. It's a matter of fact, no one knows the racing rules better than Verstappen. This is why the FIA constantly changes them in order to stop him winning. I'm not quite that conspiratorial about it, but yeah, Verstappen. I mean, he's a fantastic sim racer, isn't he? Is he not? We all know this. He is one of the world's best sim racers, and in sim racing, as is known, they use every single. I mean, there are no rules in sim racing, all right? Especially when you get into public lobbies. So everything is fair game. And Max knows exactly what all of those little tricks are. Like the DRS line, he was the first one to really use the DRS line to his advantage, right? Not overtaking until he was past the DRS line in order to get DRS down the next straight and be able to overtake without the guy coming back. Norris's mistake, right? As to what you said earlier. In the sprint race, Norris overtook him, and he overtook him too quickly. He should have let it go a little bit and overtaken him after the DRS line, or before the DRS line. He should have been behind him and then overtaken him after the DRS line in order to get DRS down the next straight, and then Max wouldn't have been able to come back at him. That was the amateur thing he did, and that's something that Verstappen is well aware of and doesn't have a problem doing. He's always aware of where those DRS lines are. So just to say, I do think that in the interview after, Verstappen laid it all out as to why he felt the way he did, and none of the commentators on Sky Sports that I saw even took that on board at all. None of them did. They were all just going, "Oh, look, he's right. He definitely moved here. He definitely moved there," and that's as may well be. But without the data, as you're saying, Fabio, we can't really tell, can we? It's still not known, and I think that the collision that Max was awarded, causing a collision that Max was awarded, came through far too quickly for them to have even looked at that data. And it should have been left till after the race. I think for several reasons. Firstly, it should have been left till after the race because giving Max a 10-second penalty in that race was pointless anyway. It wasn't enough seriousness anyway for, there's no consequence 10 seconds in that race to him. And secondly, after the race, then they could have taken their time and deliberated on what the correct punishment should have been, if at all. And if there was punishment to be given to him for moving under braking, which is the far more serious of the charges, as far as I'm concerned, then he could have been rightly punished for the next Grand Prix in terms of penalty points and grid penalties. Anyway, that's the thing. Let me just read this. No, it was Verstappen in the position of Norris. No, it was Verstappen. He was in the position of Norris. Sainz moved under braking just the same. Yeah, I think you're right here. Sainz moved under braking at the same way, leaving Max a lot less space outside. Max Verstappen put half his car on the runoff and braked early. Yeah, that is correct. Absolutely, that is correct. Verstappen was already on the curbs, in fact, when he started braking for that corner, and Sainz still pushed him a little bit wide anyway. And then Max undercut him, the corner, and got the inside on the exit as Sainz braked late into it. So, yeah, I think you're right there. Crossed the line, overtook Sainz. Immediately, it was similar to... not really that similar, I didn't feel myself, because Norris didn't back off and get the inside for the next straight. So, but yeah, I think you're right. Okay, go ahead. Lucky, you wanted to say something.
Sorry, before you go on, again, I mean, I might be super wrong, but I still think it was Perez that Sainz fought in 2023. And anyway, there is a, I don't know if you can show it. There is a video on Twitter. Do you think we can show it without being, whatever the fuck
well, maybe. I mean, we might be able to show a bit of it, and then another bit, and then another bit.
It's okay. So
don't give any sound.
No, there is no sound, and actually, it's not an FIA thing. So anyway, let me present. Hold on a second. Let me try this one.
Yep. Okay. I saw the replay. I saw the replay of that, and I'm pretty sure it was Verstappen, Sainz, but it may have been a different year. I don't know what year it was, but personally,
yeah,
that actually is always been a nightmare of a corner. If you remember, Hamilton and Rosberg had coming together there.
Oh yeah.
Punctures and things like that. But Fabio was absolutely correct when he talked about the positioning of the car. If you think about Verstappen coming up that hill with Norris behind him, okay, he didn't know if he was going to go to the inside. He didn't know he was going to go to the outside. So what he did, as you quite correctly said, was he covered both directions by braking diagonally.
Okay,
That's
so
exactly what he did.
can we? Okay, so I will present the. Why does it make me? Just give me a quick second. Hold on a second. See if I can do this. Bloody hell!
I think perhaps what we can all agree on while he's doing that again is
Oh,
that
this one. Okay.
Verstappen has become a victim of a rule that was introduced purely on his
So
own performances.
okay, so I'm sharing the old screen. So you tell me when you can see, because I can't see.
Okay, hang on a minute. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Just play a
So-
couple of seconds, then stop it. Couple more. Stop
Yeah.
it. You know.
So okay, we have Verstappen in front and Norris in the back. We are at the other 50 meter. I don't know. I don't know where they start braking in corner 3.
It's
That's
about 90 meters,
okay.
allegedly.
It's
Fair
after
enough.
the DRS line.
So let's say they break 100 meter because it's easier because we can see that. So
Sure.
this is the situation right now. Okay. Okay, this is the situation at 100 meter.
Thinks
Yeah.
he's going for the inside.
Okay.
Huh?
So here we are like 75 meter. And here we are at 50.
Yeah.
Now,
So this is the point that my shot was taken at,
right.
right? So yeah.
But okay, and then the old, and then it keeps going. Now it's in the same trajectory. You're right there. It's in the same trajectory here. My problem is this. This is where it's pointing. Okay, it's pointing like here, right? But if you go ahead, it's not going here. It's not going, in the middle.
Yeah.
This is where he changed the trajectory, and this is what I was thinking about.
Yeah. I hear you.
So-
I hear you.
But
Like
anyway,
I'm saying, the rule is specific. It's while you're on the brakes, right?
yeah. But if
So if he
that's-
comes off the brakes and then changes direction, technically by the rules, as long as he brakes in a straight line, he can brake diagonally across the track.
no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But if they start braking at 90 meters, okay?
Yeah.
This is 90 meters,
Yeah, there. Yeah.
okay? And there
Agreed.
is, this much space, okay? And
And there.
this is farther on.
Yeah, right there. He changed right there. So about 60 meters, he changed direction. I think we both agree with that, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, it started to change direction a little bit before, but that's not the point.
or
I mean,
70
he's
meters.
under braking.
Well,
Yeah,
is he though? We
well,
we
this
don't
is-
know that. We don't know that. That's my point. We don't know whether his foot is on the brake pedal when he did that. If he took his foot off the brake pedal and then changed direction and then put his foot back on the brake pedal real hard. See what I'm saying though? We don't know. We just don't know. It's a very subtle change. He needs to be off the brakes for a split second. And then he's
Oh,
within
can
the
you put
rules
that back
again.
up? Can you put that back up for me?
So what?
Could you put that back up, Fabio?
Oh, bloody hell. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm back up.
Okay, just let it run and let's have a look. Can you stop it at the sort of point of collision? If you could, or is that as far as it goes? Well,
No,
yeah,
no,
if
it
you could
goes-
do point
goes
of
there.
collision, that would
Yeah.
be great. Okay, so Norris has got all four wheels on the track. He still had the
Yeah.
width of the curb. He could have gone left. He didn't. He just
No,
kept
no,
going
no,
straight.
but yeah, I mean this is yeah. I mean, well, Norris could not have been there in the first place. That's the problem, because
Yeah.
he had been trying. What the video is missing is that He has been trying the same maneuver 4 times in the 4 laps before. He tried the inside, he tried the outside. One time he went out, one time it just just bombed it. Everybody in the circuit, and I mean everybody, including the guy which is selling the hot dogs at the stand, knew that Norris was trying to overtake Verstappen in that corner,
Absolutely.
which is an impossible corner to overtake. You can't do that. You can't do that. There is no space. Even if you stay really close to the right, and you get the inside of the corner, by giving as much space as you want to the guy on the left, he will never be able to do that, because you get inside the corner. This is a really tricky corner. It's more than 90 degrees. If you stop in the middle of the corner and then you accelerate back, the other guy, is fucked.
I'll bet you that I've done that corner in sim racing more than Verstappen has.
I doubt that. But anyway, that's
no,
besides.
I'm serious. I've done it more than Verstappen has.
Yeah, sorry.
But anyway, listen.
Regardless,
the
main issue here is that I think that Norris was a bloody idiot. That is the problem.
No, I get that. He could have played it. He could have played it a little smarter, I think, as well. By this exactly the same thing, by doing exactly what Max did to Sainz, as we're saying, in whatever year it was, by allowing the guy to go late into the corner and then getting a better run into turn 4. One of the things I would say was, it was pretty clear that the way that the battery was being used by the Red Bull was that they were charging up down that turn between turns 2 and 3, and Norris was catching up every single lap there.
Yeah.
Of course, they were doing that deliberately because they realised that the weakness is at turn 4. Turn 1 and turn 4 are the two overtaking points, not turn 3, exactly like you're saying. Yeah.
Right, but there is also the fact that Verstappen is in front. He's got no DRS, so the only sensible thing to do is charge the battery in order to have more drive out of turn 3.
Yeah.
Turn 4 is the fucked up one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, exactly. Yeah. So, and it was good use by the Red Bull team on the battery deployment, and not by McLaren. I feel, but okay, there you go.
When you say Red Bull, you actually mean Verstappen, right? Because Red Bull is Verstappen and Perez, and
but it's Red Bull that decide the usage, right? It's now automatic. The battery deployment is now an automatic thing. It's not set by the driver, set by the mode that the driver's in. And it shows the awareness of Verstappen in the car. At one point in the race, he said, "All right, Max, we can give you mode 6."
Mm-hmm.
And he went, "Oh, no, I don't want fucking mode 6 straight away. I don't want mode 6. Mode 6 is completely the wrong battery usage."
Yeah.
And it's just how aware the guy is when he's driving. He's very much like Prost used to be, right? He uses 50% of his brain to drive and 50% of his brain to look around and see what the fuck is going on. Alonso is another one that does the same, right? Alonso will tell you where everybody is on the track at any particular time. You know what I mean? Oh, there's a guy on the other side of the track that if I pit now, I'm going to come out behind, How the fuck does he know that?
And Hamilton is the same. Vettel used to be the same, so
there we go.
Oh, can I change topic for a second? If you
let me just say to Lucky, is there anything else you wanted to say on this? By the way, before you do, I have something. I just want to show this on the screen. There you go. That's Verstappen in the car. That's Sainz heading into turn 3. Just to show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was Verstappen Sainz is what we're saying here.
What year is that?
This is the 2023 last year. Yeah. Max comes out of the pits as Ventman says. Anyway, there you go. Just to point that out. Okay, moving on. So did you want to say something, Lucky?
Not really. I just think it's a 50-50 racing accident. That's my opinion.
Okay. Over to you, Fabio. Change the
No,
topic if you'd like to.
I mean, yeah, I mean, just a small one. I'm super worried about next year's Ferrari roster because it seems to me that, well, I mean, first of all, we got to see what's going to happen from the technical side. You know, you mentioned that last time. I don't know if it was during the show after that. You know, Enrico Cardile, you know,
Yeah.
has left Ferrari, is going to McLaren, and
Is it? Okay.
yeah, McLaren. Is it McLaren?
No. Aston. He's going to
Aston.
replace
Yeah.
Mike
Okay.
Crack. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm getting all the
yeah.
Mike Crack jokes in this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, and that by the way, I think it's something which has to do with those updates of this year because
Yeah.
Anyway, but what I was thinking about is the driver situation. I really hope that something changes, by the end of the year, because right now the two drivers who's going to be next year, which is Hamilton and Leclerc, they are really depressed. So I
Yeah.
really hope that something happens. By the way, do you guys know? I heard that Hamilton apologized to the team for something, but I don't
That's
understand.
right. Yeah.
Do you guys know what? What about?
Yeah. He basically said sorry about doubting whether they were about the sabotage claim.
Oh yeah. He meant that now he's he's sure that it was a sabotage. Sorry about
Well, I
doubting.
don't know,
Yeah.
but I mean, he realised he shouldn't be saying it in public. Was my understanding of the apology. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Not that he didn't mean it, just that he shouldn't have said it.
Right.
So
No, but
okay,
anyway, it seems to me that they're both pretty depressed. I actually hope that Hamilton. I mean, usually Hamilton is the guy which is in Russell position. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
should have been him,
Yeah.
and he wasn't. And I think it's a little bit. Well, I mean, he is going to change the team. I don't think he has the whole support as it used to be, as a as it happens probably.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Sainz still, now is getting ahead of Leclerc. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't mind so much because, like, with Hamilton, if he doesn't have the car, then he loses his motivation. And I would just say one thing: it shows how close all the drivers are. When we say the top 20 drivers in the world, maybe it's not 20 drivers, right? Because obviously, Logan Sargent, and maybe a few others are not really that top tier. But at least the top 10 drivers in the world they're within it's psychological.
Yeah.
Right? That's why Max is on top right now. It's not because he is the best driver in the world, right? Yeah. It's because psychologically he's in a place where he's completely crushing it.
No, you're right.
His ego cannot be bashed. Just can't be bashed. Like, he can get away with this and just come off and go, Jolly Herbert knows fuck all about racing. Right? It reminds me of the Lee Nelson one, where he plays a footballer called Jason Bent, and he comes on to Match of the Day or something like that, and turns around to, like, one of the best England players in the thing, Lee Dixon, and he goes, "Lee Dixon, what the fuck do you know about football?" And Max is the way, like, fucking, you fucking refs, what the fuck do you know about Formula One? Right, and that's just his impregnable mindset right now, and that's backed up by not just Christian Horner, not just Helmut Marko, but now Toto Wolff. Anyway, there we go. I've said my rant.
Yeah.
Well, do you not think that after this weekend that maybe Verstappen has now found somebody that he won't fuck with in his normal manner when it comes to the Lando Norris? You don't think
No. Actually, that proves the point that we said, last time.
Yeah,
that you need to put pressure on Max, especially now that he hasn't got the best car. So and you see, I mean, shit happens. By the way, another interesting fact: Red Bull has 100% points less at the same compared to last year, the same moment of the championship than last year, and most of the points have been done by Verstappen.
Yeah.
So that
Most,
actually proves that the car is not as good as it was last year. First of all, right? Because Perez is again.
Yeah.
Perez couldn't overtake a fucking ass.
Can I just give you a couple of figures here?
Yeah.
Okay, Verstappen, 237 points. Perez, 118. So that's half the number of points that has been scored. Right, so that's 2/3 of the points has been scored by Verstappen, in other words, for his team. Let me just say, 237 for Verstappen, Lando Norris 156. So the gap has widened since the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Leclerc 150, Sainz 135, Perez 118, Piastri 112, George Russell 111, Hamilton 85. So there we go.
No, but I think
Thank you, Sandy.
Point, the 100 points less, is it basically vouches, for what we've been saying, the fact that the car is not the same car. There is not that much of a gap as last year, so that's a good thing. The bad thing is that it's really all Max, and the thing that if he wins the championship this year, this might be the greatest championship he has ever won. More than the one against Hamilton.
For sure.
Yeah, because people have been telling them, and again, rightly so, that the only reason he was winning was because he had the best car and blah 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 blah. And now that car is not the best car. It's just the best package, with that driver. I think that right now, for example, McLaren is a better car than Red Bull. Overall.
Yeah, maybe. I think the tyre configuration is what's doing it. As I would say, it's down to tyres. I say this every year, and I do think that the Red Bull is harder on its tyres, and therefore towards the end of stints, especially towards the end of stints, then I think that the McLaren seems to be able to just pick up a little bit of performance. However, that doesn't mean to say that McLaren isn't good or isn't hard on its tyres. It's just not as hard. I think it has a slightly more benign features.
But you see, the thing is that in previous years we've had cars that were like on par on the Red Bull.
Yeah,
like for
agreed.
example in qualifying, Ferrari was better, but on the race pace, that was just gone, bye bye. And now it is not the case. Like McLaren is really fast in qualifying and also has a excellent race pace. Yeah. So it is as if I don't know if you have news about it, but it's like somebody left at Red Bull at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it might be.
Okay, let me just address this question then. Max, Bub says, Max is not far away from only needing second places in all the remaining races to be champion. If he wins in England next week, or Britain, and not counting the sprint races, then he only needs second places. Which is, absolutely. But of course, as Hamilton found out in 2016 with Rosberg, right, it's actually the DNFs that really hurt. And you never know when they're going to happen. Of course, Max still is going to have to take an engine penalty before the end of the year. At least one, if not more. So there you go. Red Bull Racing 355 points.
Your mic.
What? 1, 2?
Yes.
1, 2. Is that better?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Red Bull 355 points in first place. Second place, Ferrari 291. Third place, McLaren 268. So that's nearly 100 points behind there as well. So I think McLaren are going to have to go some to even catch up slightly. The dominance this year, I still think I still think Verstappen's going to win. I can't see him throwing away this kind of lead. But then we said that before about other racers. So maybe if everybody brings upgrades and Max starts getting desperate, which is the only reason he gets under pressure. I think he's very much like Schumacher. Schumacher used to do the same thing. I don't know if you'd agree with this, but Schumacher used to like be invincible. He was bulletproof unless somebody got behind him and started closing the gap. And then a few mistakes would come out. So I think the similarities between Verstappen and Schumacher are quite remarkable. And I think this ego business that I was talking about gives drivers a lot of strength, and it's the same way with Schumacher as it is with Verstappen. I think as he gets put under more pressure, more and more pressure, then he's going to crumble a little more, which should make the racing a bit more interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything anybody wants to say, and then we'll go to the.
No. Let's move on. We already really long. And,
yeah. Okay. So this is the last.
Soon, so.
This is the last. This is the last little section. Any questions in the side chat? Please put them in now. But this is the last little section, and it's called Quiz or Myth. So let me just hit the button. Is it a quiz? Is it a myth? Is it a quiz or a myth? Is it a quiz and a myth, or just a myth or a quiz? We don't know. This is Quiz or Myth. And this week, Lucky, what is it? Is it a quiz or is it a myth, or is it a quiz and a myth?
Is it fast?
Why are you asking me?
Fast? Well, because I know what the answer is, but I'm asking you to get the answer.
Oh, right, okay. I wanted to answer Bob first. Bob, I think if he wins this year,
I've already done the jingle.
If for nothing else, if nothing else, carrying the rest of the Red Bull team.
Yeah,
that's my answer to Bob.
Okay.
We're only doing because we've gone late this evening. We're only going to do.
It's because you don't have a myth. It's because you don't have a myth, right? Let's just move on. It's a quiz, Simon. Okay, it's just a quiz. Please.
I told you not to mention that. Did I tell you not to mention that?
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know you didn't tell me to mention that. Sorry.
God damn it. Anyway, it's round 11 of the F1 Trivia Intercontinental Championship. At the moment, we have Sterling Moss and Simos out front on 4 points, and Bob with 2, and me with absolutely none.
Yeah, I think Fabio has 5 because he did get the Jackie Stewart right last week. Anyway, carry on. Just carry on. It doesn't matter now. We'll argue the toss later.
I'll have to go and fucking watch the video now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, please.
I'm sure you said at the end it's 4-all.
Don't know. Anyway,
I'm going to blame you.
We've had a question come in. What do you guys think on Benson's? Who the fuck's Benson's revelation? Where he said 2 high-profile F1 bosses in the paddock told him there is a common belief Max has 2 or 3 tenths on anyone individually as a driver. It's just fucking bollocks, mate.
Jensen. He maybe means Jensen.
Maybe Jensen Button. Andrew Benson. Yeah, it is Benson.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I don't think so. I just think that the top 10 drivers, you couldn't really put a cigarette paper between them. And really it comes down to not, it doesn't come down to the skill of the driver. It comes down to the psychological state of how much they want to push and how much they believe they need to risk. And they all have different amounts of that. It's much harder these days with these tires that they're using. It's not like drivers drive flat out now and we can easily tell. So, I just think they all drive pretty much the same level. The difference is the psychological desire to win, which separates the champions from the also-rans. Over to you. Anyone else got something to say on that?
Well, there's one thing about Verstappen, and you touched on this earlier. His life is racing. He started off in karts, and he'd come home and he'd get on a sim racer on the internet, and then he would race karts, and then he'd come home and sim race on the internet, and that's been his life. If you remember, he rage quit from the 24-hour Le Mans sim racing thing last year due to the connection issues. He said there that he had spent 3 months practicing for that race. 3 months practicing for one single race. And that's what sim racing is all about. You have to practice. And that's where he's got this advantage over the other guys, because they just race and then that's it.
Yeah.
He is race all the time.
Right. Okay. So apparently Fabio did not win a point for saying Jackie Stewart because that was the wrong answer. Bob says Hernando da Silva Ramos raced a car in 1955. He's still alive. Sorry for the wrong answer. No problem, dude. Welcome, Green Soul. Welcome. He had the greatest ever career record, top professional karting, better than Hamilton or anyone. Yeah, he's certainly, I mean, he's been bred to race. Let's face it. We've all seen
Yes.
the amount of pressure that was put on Max when he was a kid by Jos. And let's face it, you wouldn't want to cross Jos on a dark night unless you were, an 18-year-old girl. Just saying. Just fucking saying. So yeah, good to see you, guy. Okay. Can we
There's
just get
not
to the
got some
quiz
new
now?
faces this
Can we
week.
please? Can we just get to the quiz quick as you can? Because
Okay.
we're already 16 minutes past.
Oh, just stop complaining. I'm going to say hello to the new people that are in chat that I haven't seen before. Welcome aboard, new people in chat. Okay, so here is the trivia question. In 1991, Mika Hakkinen made his debut in Formula One with Lotus Judd at the first round of the championship, which that year was at the US Grand Prix in Detroit, another street circuit. So the question is, on lap 8, Mika Hakkinen had, I'll say it this way, he had a failure in directional control inputs that caused him to spin. What was the failure in directional control inputs that caused him to spin? First to answer gets the point.
I'm not even sure I understand the question.
Okay, well,
what was the failure? Hang on a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
During the race, on
Yeah.
lap 8,
He spun.
Mika Hakkinen, he spun.
Why did he spin? Is that the question?
Okay, go with that. Why did he spin? But I
thank
did give you a bit of a help with
Yes,
the way
you
I
did.
phrased.
Yeah. I think was it?
No, after the spin, we'll continue the story.
okay.
After the spin,
Oh,
he
God.
did get going again.
Yeah.
And went back round and into the pits.
Yeah.
To have this problem rectified in a more substantial way.
Right, reset. Yeah. So I think it might have been the throttle.
No.
Okay, Fabio.
91. Was it the second
Detroit.
brake? Was it
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second braking pedal not working?
No, it wasn't. It was a Lotus
Okay.
Judd he was driving then.
Okay, is anybody in the chat? Do you know the answer? Just quickly before we actually say what it is.
We'll give you one more guess each. Okay, but I'm going to give you a
really?
clue. Okay? And
Okay.
the clue was he had a loss of directional control input.
Okay, Bub's saying the steering wheel got loose.
Bob gets the point.
There we go.
Came off. His steering wheel actually came off. Believe it or
wow.
not.
Okay.
And while he was recovering from his spin, he managed to get the steering wheel back on, and he motored around to the pits and had it attached in a more secure fashion.
Okay.
Then went on out into the race and continued till lap 59, and his Judd engine exploded in a huge ball of flames.
Yeah, as they will want to do.
What was he running on a British kit car?
Basically.
It was indeed.
Basically,
it was.
It was a Lotus, and there isn't much more of a Garantista or Garantista or whatever they call it type of racing outfit. So there you go.
Maybe.
Okay, so well done to Bob. How many points
fun
has Bob
fact.
got?
Bob's got 3 points now. He's
3 points.
He's catching up to you, boys.
I thought he had 2 points before.
He did, yes. He's got 3 now.
3 now. There we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am keeping track of these things, by the way.
4 plus 1 equals 3.
Yes.
Okay. One fun fact. One fun fact about the 1991 US Grand Prix Detroit.
Yeah.
Ayrton Senna had a huge lead at the end of the race and slowed down deliberately on his last lap in order to let the clock go over the 2-hour mark, which meant the end of the Grand Prix and him not having to do an extra lap.
Yeah.
So there you go. And
Yeah.
he still obviously won despite slowing down.
Running low on fuel, I believe.
No, he did it deliberately. So
deliberately, so he didn't have to do the extra lap. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the refueling was in those days. 1991, I can't remember.
So, sorry, but by the way, there's something I forgot to mention really quick about the race. I made a point and just forgot about it, but it's going to be quick. You mentioned that Norris was given 5 seconds. Now, I want to applaud the McLaren team as a whole, because apparently he will not be given those 5 seconds. Actually, he did the 5 seconds because once... This is the thing, they're still, looking into it. But apparently what they did, and that is, kudos to the guy. When he get to the pit, the mechanics waited 5 seconds before touching the car and then retiring the car. So if that turns out to be true, he will not have to, to have the 5 seconds on the next race. And if that's true, I mean, those guys are fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I heard a different reason. I don't think they did wait 5 seconds. I think what happened was that because he was within a lap and there were lap drivers, it counted that he finished, and therefore the time is added on at the end of the race. The 5 seconds was added on.
We've already had non-finishers get 5-second penalties during a race this year. That's happened already. I can't remember who it was.
Sure.
But somebody got a 5-second penalty despite a DNF.
Yeah. Well, the rule is if you don't serve the penalty before the end of the race, right, then it gets added on. And if you didn't serve the penalty and you're out, then it gets added on in the next race, or another penalty is assigned. The 3-place grid penalty. Yeah. But in this case, hang on. In this case, because he still finished ahead of some of the cars that were driving, it's counted that he finished the race.
I'm not really sure about that, but regardless,
it was impossible.
That's what I heard.
It was impossible for him to serve a 5-second penalty that he didn't get until the next day.
No, he got it at the race. He got it in the race.
No, he didn't. He got it the day after.
No, they retired the car. He's right. They retired the car. But if what I read is true, they didn't touch the car. I mean, they let it sit there for 5 seconds, and then they touched the car, and then they retired the car, and that should count as a 5-second penalty.
That would definitely count. Yeah.
Yeah, because up to the point that they actually retired the car in the garage, the car is still in the race. You know what I mean? So that would be the thing, but just the fact that they managed to think about it, to me it's fucking brilliant, and it should not have been easy when the car...
If that's what happened, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see that actually happen, and as I say, what I heard was slightly different. That he was counted as a finisher because the next car that went across the line was lapped, which meant he'd already finished. As soon as that car goes across the line, he was 1 lap ahead, so he's a finisher. And therefore, it gets added to his finishing time. But look, whatever. I don't know the difference. So if that changes next week, or you guys know about that, then there we go. Bob says Verstappen is very good at driving with a flat tire. Mm-hmm. He's certainly getting the practice in. I'll say that much. Yeah. He'd probably win the race if everybody starts with a flat tire. He's not as good as Hamilton is, though. Hamilton won a race on three tires, so there you go. But there you go. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Bob, for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Avant Man. Really good to see you here. Thanks for picking up the fact it was Verstappen Science, and we will see everybody for the next one. Hang on. We'll see everybody for the next one We'll see everybody for the next one in 1 week's time. I pressed the button a little soon. Yeah. So there we go. Take care.